I don't think America's done with me yet. I feel like they want to see more of me.
They are casting right now, is what I believe. I'm hearing little tidbits of this one interviewed and that one interviewed and who did whose makeup for this and that.
I think we have just gotten too far. I think my honest opinion is I think people handle things wrong. I think people drag it out too long.
Yes.
It's not good for TV anymore.
It's not.
And I'm just over it.
Welcome back to Celebrity News Edit. It's been weeks since the final episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey season 14 aired, and it seems we still can't stop talking about this controversial cast. The latest news? Cast members have recently spoken out about plans for season 15, with Melissa claiming casting is already underway and stating that she wouldn't return if Teresa came back, Danielle advocating for a spin-off, Rachel Fuda insinuating that she's been fired on social media, and Dolores, always Switzerland, saying she believes that the cast will be able to return exactly as it was. We'll be rolling the tapes and analysing all these interviews. Plus, stay tuned for a recent message from Teresa on her podcast, Turning the Tables, about her future with Real Housewives of New Jersey, rumours of an unexpected truce between decades-long rivals Teresa and Melissa, as well as hints that we may see the return of Kathy and Richie Wakili to settle a years-long feud with Melissa and Joe. Before we dive in, I'd like to ask you a massive favour to please subscribe if you're new to this channel. I release new videos on reality TV news and behind-the-scenes drama every other week, and I'll be following this controversial cast closely to make sure I bring you further updates as they happen. So please like this video, comment below what you want to see next, hit that notification bell, and subscribe if you're interested in more rundowns. Right, let's get into it. We'll be hearing from every single cast member throughout this video, guys, so stick with me because we've got a lot of juicy gossip to cover. Kicking things off with Melissa Gorga, who can't seem to make up her mind if she wants to come back to the show or not. On an episode of 2 Teas in a Pod with Tamra Judge and Teddy Mellencamp at the end of August, Melissa set some strict boundaries around where she stands with Teresa and season 15, claiming that if Teresa were to return, she wouldn't. Melissa called her sister-in-law toxic and said she wouldn't find it a loss to leave Real Housewives of New Jersey if Teresa is allowed to stay, despite public outcry from fans, including many of you guys, to kick Teresa, Jen, Jackie, and especially Louis from the show. Check this out.
I am prepared for anything at this point, obviously, because of all the rumors that are out there. I am fully prepared for anything. I think I would realize that her and I are two extremely different characters, so to speak, on the show, right? So if Bravo decides to go that route and kind of like the darker, whatever it is, route, then I need to say that is not a show that I want to be on anyway, which it truly isn't. I do want to be on The Real Housewives of New Jersey. I do not want to be on that toxic shit. So as long as, she is there and that whole thing would come back, I wouldn't find it as so
What
much.
about if Louis was gone?
Well, I wouldn't find it as a loss.
Melissa's statement is interesting, as we know that Teresa had by this point already claimed on an episode of Live with Kelly and Mark that she wouldn't be leaving unless Bravo asked her to leave, claiming, quote, "I started the show, and when Bravo wants me to leave, that's when I'll leave." So it sounded at this point like Melissa would be willing to walk away if Bravo doesn't give Teresa the boot. However, Melissa shed more light on the subject when she readdressed and kind of recanted this strong statement on an episode of No Filter with Zach Peter on September 11th. In this episode, Melissa went back on her statement that she would leave if Teresa stayed, instead claiming that what she meant was she didn't want to be on a toxic show, which is what the current show has become. She stated it's, quote, "dark and not a show I want to be on anyway." Melissa said she's not proud to be on such a toxic show, and Jen and Teresa's behaviour, where they were caught leaking stories to bloggers ahead of episodes to get their side of the story out first, was unfair and not what the rest of the cast had signed up for. She confirmed that she would not be willing to mend her relationship with Teresa, but does still want to be on Real Housewives of New Jersey, even if Teresa stays, providing that it's fun and lighthearted and not dark or toxic. No idea how that's going to happen with this current cast, but anyway, let's check out these clips.
Headline took some quotes that you did in a recent interview and reported that you do not want to be part of the show at all if Teresa returns.
I had said, I don't want to come back to the toxic Real Housewives of New Jersey and what that was. It was getting really dark and something that I wasn't proud to even be on. What I was trying to say was I want to be on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, but I want it to be a housewife show.
Yeah.
That is a very toxic, dirty, way more work than it's worth. For that, I don't want to be a part of that. I feel like there's lots going on out there and there's other things to do. But do I love being on the Housewives franchise? Do I love working with Bravo? Absolutely.
In this same interview, Melissa also hinted that no matter how she feels about filming with Teresa, and despite Andy Cohen recently alleging the network is going to take time with the decision, casting is already underway, claiming she's heard rumours of casting interviews and adding, quote, "They're very much still figuring it all out. Watch this."
They are casting right now, is what I believe. I'm hearing little tidbits of this one interviewed and that one interviewed and who did whose makeup for this and that. So I think they're very much still like figuring it all out.
Although Melissa seems to be undecided about whether or not she wants to film with Teresa, one thing is for certain. The rumours that there will be a truce between the sisters-in-law in order to continue filming season 15 with the current cast are completely untrue. After recent reports that Teresa and Melissa would be ending the feud to save Real Housewives of New Jersey, an inside source spoke to OK Magazine, telling reporters that these rumours, quote, could not be further from the truth. The source stated, quote, "Teresa wants nothing to do with Melissa or her brother. She made that clear this season, and that's not something she's going to change her mind on." They added that the whole show is in limbo due to the divide, claiming, quote, "If Teresa is asked to return to the show, Melissa is not going to be asked back," adding, "The two of them returning is just not happening." So, if this source is to be believed, then the two being on the same season, on the same screen, is simply not going to happen. Other cast members of Real Housewives of New Jersey seem to agree. Speaking to Dorinda Medley from Real Housewives of New York, Jen Fessler said, quote, "If I'm making the decision, it's not a complete reboot." And in an interview with Us Weekly at the VMAs on September 11th, she predicted that the show will come back with some of the current cast, though she believes that there will be new women joining too, and some existing housewives getting let go. In this interview, Jen also stated that if it's in the cards for her, she'd love to become a permanent housewife, though she's happy also to rejoin in a friend role too. Finally, she was hopeful that we may be seeing Teresa and Melissa on screen together again, though, like the rest of us, knows it's unlikely that they'll ever be in a good place with each other. Let's take a look.
Where does the show go from here? That's $1 million question.
I predict it comes back. I predict it comes back with at least some of the current cast. I predict new people. I predict Jen Fessler becomes a housewife of New... No, I don't know.
People want it.
Whatever. We'll see.
Do you think that we'll ever see Melissa and Teresa on screen together again?
On screen, maybe.
Yes.
I would not rule that out. Will they ever actually be in a good place with each other? I don't think so.
Also interviewed at the VMAs was Jackie Goldschneider, who seemed to agree with Jen and Melissa, claiming that things can't go on as they are, saying that the fights, quote, go too far and get too dark and too heavy. They can't come back from them, then everybody hates. Like Jen, she also predicted some old, some new cast, and would be happy to return in some capacity. Check this out.
It's such a great show that I can't imagine that it wouldn't come back in some form. I do think things are going to change because they sort of have to. It got too dark. The problem with Jersey is that fights go too far, and they get too dark and they get too heavy, and then you can't come back from them, and then everybody hates. And I would love to see a cast that includes me, where the fighting is more petty. I think that it's going to be one show with some new, some old. That's my prediction.
Personally, I kind of doubt whether Jackie will make a return at all. Obviously, this season, she was key to exposing the truth behind her meeting with Louis' ex and vindicating Margaret, and I think that was kind of her role. I doubt she would have been back at all without this drama set to unfold. Plus, as filming wrapped, Teresa hadn't even processed the betrayal from Jackie, claiming that it was fine because they both hurt each other and it was at a time when they weren't friends. But I think that now some time has passed, Teresa probably wouldn't want Jackie back on the cast either. Jackie also admitted in her VMAs interview that she isn't in Teresa's inner circle, but insisted that they are interested in growing a friendship. So let's see how long that lasts. Dolores also weighed in on this and said she thinks that the relationship between Jackie and Teresa is an effort, and although she claims it's a sincere attempt at friendship, she doesn't see it lasting. Take a look.
You feel like Teresa and Jackie's friendship is genuine?
I don't think it's fake. I think it's an effort. I think it's an effort to be friends. I wouldn't say like I see this long future and a very close friendship, but I don't think it's a fake try. Does that mean? Like, what would you call it? Like a fake attempt? No, it's a sincere attempt.
So, whether Jackie is set to return or not is still up in the air. But it seems that where Melissa, Jen, and Jackie all think a cast shakeup is vital for Real Housewives of New Jersey, Dolores, ever the peacekeeping optimist, thinks there's hope for the entire cast returning as it was last season. In an interview at the VMAs, she claimed that the show is, quote, about real-life problems, fighting, and resolution. And perhaps with some time to heal and recover, there could be resolution, or at least some form of civility in order to save the show. She even believes there's hope that Teresa and Melissa would film together again. Check this out.
I see it coming back because it was too good not to be honest. And in a perfect world, I feel we're an ensemble cast. I would like for us to all come back, but that's not up to me.
Do you see Melissa and Teresa ever getting to a space where they could film together again, or is that door completely?
They filmed together. Like, they filmed. We all filmed together. It just was that we fought, but isn't that what it's all about?
Right.
The problem is it's about real life problems, fighting, and resolution. We couldn't come to a resolution.
Although unrealistically hopeful about the Teresa and Melissa situation, it seems that Dolores is pragmatic when it comes to the fact that the next season may look different for her and many of the other housewives. In an appearance on SiriusXM with Jeff Lewis, Dolores said, quote, everybody has an expiration date as a housewife, adding, it's not a forever thing. And if the show were to end or her time was up, she would, quote, leave gracefully with a lot of gratitude because this has done so much for me. Personally, I think Dolores is one housewife who will definitely be back. She's friends with both sides, so there's no reason why she'd be booted off the show. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. So we've touched on Dolores, Jen Fessler, Jackie, and Melissa. Thank you for making it this far if you've stuck with me. But we've still got so much to dive into for the rest of this video, including interviews with Danielle and Jennifer Aydin, as well as Margaret's ongoing public campaign against Teresa and Louis, Rachel Fuda's social media announcement that she's now, quote, unemployed, and Teresa's latest statements about her future on Real Housewives of New Jersey. So let's keep going. Up next, Danielle Cabral. On an episode of Off the Vine with Caitlin Bristow, which aired right at the end of August, Danielle discussed her thoughts about her second season on Real Housewives and what she thinks will happen for season 15. According to Danielle, still no one knows what's happening, but she agreed with many of the others that, quote, some people are going, adding that, quote, for the women that have been on there a really long time, that's a whole life change. Anyone think she's hinting at Teresa's 14-year stint and upcoming exit? Danielle also seemed unsure if she'd return, perhaps by choice though, as she said, quote, I don't know if I could handle another season with what I went through this year with some people. Once again calling the season too dark and adding, if we can get back to the Real Housewives of New Jersey that I love, I could do that all day. Let's have a listen.
This season, they're changing the whole cast around.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
To who?
We don't know.
Oh.
No one knows anything, but some people are going. And for the women that have been on there a really long time, that's a whole life
Would
change.
you want to do another season?
And I don't know if I could handle another season with what I went through this year with certain people.
Yeah.
But if we can get back to the Jersey that I love,
Yeah.
I could do that all day.
Is it Housewives if it's not drama and catty?
Oh, Catty, I could do all day.
Oh.
Evil and twisted and trying to ruin my name and my brand and my children's future. I didn't sign up for that, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's different.
Yeah, that's dark.
Way dark.
Speaking of Catty, let's move on to Jennifer Aydin. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Jen claimed that she doesn't really care what happens to her and her fate on the show. She said, quote, whatever the Bravo bosses say, I'm sure is the best decision. She also spoke about how there are other things she can do if she's not on Real Housewives of New Jersey, saying, quote, for me, there's no fear. You know, people sit there like, oh, what if you didn't have the show? I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll go back to counting my Ferraris. Aydin also said she would return to her fabulous life with her family if she wasn't asked to return. Now, either this is typical sarcastic snobbery from Jennifer Aydin, or maybe she's already been fired from the show, knows her time is up, and simply doesn't care what happens next, so didn't give a legitimate answer like all of the other cast members, though I'm sure she's happy for the extra press. What do you guys think about this answer from Jen? Doesn't seem like her typical response if you ask me. Sound off in the comments below. And when it comes to firing, Rachel Fuda has put herself slap bang in the center of the rumor mill. In a TikTok posted on September 2nd, Rachel filmed herself pushing a stroller with the caption, in my Diet Coke drinking, toddler teen mum, unemployed, Jersey girl, pregnant era. This had fans immediately outraged, with headlines flying that Rachel had been fired from the next season. One user commented, quote, what? They better not. You and your family are awesome. While another said, quote, Bravo needs to give you and John your own show. Although others theorized that Rachel didn't sign up for next season and voluntarily left, perhaps feeling like Danielle that the season is just too dark and toxic, especially while she's pregnant. One user commented, quote, It's true. I think she didn't sign on because she's pregnant and it would cause too much stress. Rachel has been open about her journey with IVF as her and John were trying to get pregnant with their third child. So it's possible that she wants to return to her peace, to have her baby, and avoid the stresses of filming a drama. What do you guys think? As far as I can tell, claims that Rachel has been fired haven't been confirmed or denied by Rachel or Bravo. And although she's replied to other comments on this video, Rachel has done nothing to settle the speculation about her return to season 15. So it's another one to watch, I guess. Personally, I'd happily see more of Rachel and the Fudas, and I think her saying she's unemployed could be referring to the fact that she's currently in a break between filming. Anyway, moving on to someone who clearly doesn't want to leave the show and is instead keen on pushing others out. Margaret Josephs has also given her opinion on the future of Real Housewives of New Jersey. On the Taste of Taylor podcast, which aired at the end of August, Margaret made it clear where she stands. She was quoted saying, "One bad apple can ruin the bunch," going on to add that Teresa is a grudge holder and isn't good for TV anymore because she drags things out for too long.
I even knew the beginning of the season was the beginning of the end.
Really?
We're not going to hear anything till next year. That's how long I think it's going to be.
Okay, in a perfect world, what would be the outcome for you?
In a perfect world, the outcome is just like some of us would come back.
Is it that certain castmates are responsible for going to that dark place?
Yes,
Like,
and then you have to go along, and then you go, and then
you're
you
in it,
fall
and
right
then
in
you're
it, and then
stuck.
you're in it, and then you're in it.
so one bad apple can really ruin the bunch.
Yes, one bad apple can ruin the bunch.
Is it
And
that
everyone's like, Teresa's the strongest, she's the strongest because she came out of jail. Well, what choice did she have?
Of course.
Yes, she is strong. She is resilient. But boy, when she's a grudge holder, and that is not good for
I
housewives.
mean, we're
Though while Marge is out here making it clear she doesn't want Teresa to return, Miss Tree herself has announced in her latest podcast episode on September 11th that, quote, "I don't think America's done with me yet. I feel like they want to see more of me." Referring to her upcoming stint on House of Villains, Teresa said she thinks that without the toxicity of the other housewives weighing on her, she'll have a lot more to give and people will see another side of her. Agreeing with Marge, Jen, Jackie, and even Melissa that a cast shakeup is needed, Teresa said that maybe seeing her on the show will help with making a decision, and added, quote, "I'm hoping they get rid of some people and keep some of us on." So clearly, unlike Melissa, Danielle, and Rachel, Teresa has no hesitation at all. She's definitely not going to leave willingly. Have a listen here.
I don't think America's done with me yet. I feel like they want to see more of me. Yeah, so I'm hoping they get rid of some people and keep some of us on. That's what I'm hoping for, yeah.
Although it will be interesting to see how Teresa fares on House of Villains, I'm not sure how much sway this will have on production. In fact, in my opinion, I don't think that Bravo and Andy Cohen are actually bothered about the toxicity and lack of resolution on the show like they've claimed. The feud between Teresa and Melissa has been going on for around 10 years and they've never threatened to recast. If anything, that real-life Italian family drama is what makes the series so addictive. Like Dolores said, it's about real-life problems, fighting, and resolution. But in my opinion, what has stumped producers is the low rating season 14 got this year. According to TV Deets, this most recent season hit a new low, with a record of 589,000 viewers tuning in. It's believed that this reduced interest is all down to the cast divide, as they'll no longer film together and fans aren't getting to see the feud play out on screen. It's become a standoff, and that doesn't make good TV. What's clear is these low ratings mean that something has to be done, and this has led to endless rumours flying and a lot of indecision. Although we've had relative silence from Andy Cohen and production, sources have now revealed whispers of 2 separate seasons of Real Housewives of New Jersey. One with Melissa, Rachel, Danielle, and Margaret, and another which follows Teresa, Jackie, and Jennifer Aydin. There's also been other rumours that Melissa and Joe may get their own home makeover show and spin-off around their businesses, which would see other previous housewives, and hopefully house husbands, appear as friends or supporting cast. And with Kathy and Richie Wakili moving in just down the street from Melissa and Joe, maybe we'll see the family drama return and the storyline centre around Joe and Kathy making up after they stopped speaking years ago when Joe took Teresa's side in an argument against Kathy. Now that would be some great Italian family TV, just like the good old days. But with official cast announcements not expected until early next year, I think what all this indecision proves is that whatever happens, Bravo isn't willing to give up on the current cast. Producers know that both Melissa and Teresa have huge followings, so a full shake-up or Real Housewives of New York treatment just won't be an option here. Word from Andy Cohen is, quote, "I think with Jersey, we're going to have a really interesting moment in figuring out where to go." So I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's all for today's Celebrity News Addict update. What do you think is going to happen now? Who do you want back? Who don't you want back? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more celebrity news and updates on the Real Housewives of New Jersey and all your favourite Housewives drama as it happens. Thanks for watching.